Okay, thank you for joining. So today we've come to our second tutorial for our legislation, regulation, ethics, and conduct of practice unit. So in the previous session, we introduced them. We spoke about understanding the legal and regulatory issues in IT. So in today's session, we're going to look into understand the current ethical issues in IT. So we will cover our 3 learning outcomes, and we will look into any question. So from learning outcome of today, what we're going to look at, we're going to look into the field of information technology, where it presents numerous ethical issues for professionals, which must navigate to ensure that they're responsible and they follow a fair practice. So these issues can be related to data privacy, cybersecurity, AI, and so on. So today's session, we're mainly going to focus on looking into ethical best practice. So we look into owner responsibility and each individual, what responsibility they'll have when it comes to follow ethical best practice. Also, we look into ethics in IT roles, where we look into system design and development and cybersecurity and what are each member, what are the roles. Then we have ethics in emerging technologies. So we look into measures of personal information, misinformation, and potential for using of deep faking, marketing, lack of oversight and acceptance of responsibility, and so on. So what does all this mean is that we will now look into data privacy, such as data protection, and we'll now look into the ethical issues. So what could be the ethical issues in data privacy? This can be concern related to the rights of individuals, which are controlled and they've been accessed by companies. So for instance, this ethical issue will now arise when organizations are storing personal data of customers in the wrong way. Which, what do we mean by the wrong way? This means that this data is not secured, is not following the GDPR Act. So what are going to be the theoretical frameworks? These are going to be the approach where is going to integrate privacy into development process of IT system and business practice. So we need to ensure that we have data integrity and there are no breaches or leak in our system. So we have to have we have to be ensured that we have utilitarian approach, which means that our data practice can maximize the overall benefit while minimizing the harm to any individuals, such as our customers. So we do have an example for this data privacy issue, where the Cambridge Analytica scandal, where Facebook users' data was adverse without consent for political advertising, where they highlighted severe ethical breaches related to data privacy and consent. Also, we have cybersecurity and ethical hacking. So what could be the ethical issues for them? These issues often resolve around the use of hacking techniques for defensive purposes. So we all know that hackers are able to hack into systems. So we need to have ethical hacking awareness. So for example, with pen testing, is now used to employ and identify and fix security vulnerabilities. And you're also going to raise more awareness of what are the vulnerabilities of our system. So when we look into the theoretical frameworks, we have deontological ethics, where this perspective focuses on adherence to rules and duties, where ethical hackers must operate within legal boundaries and professional code of conduct. So example for this, we have ethical hacking that can help organizations like banks to secure their system against any sort of breaches. Then we have AI and machine learning. So ethical issues concerned about AI and machine learning, where they can often face ethical scrutiny due to biases in their algorithms, decision-making process, and the potential for job displacement. So what are the theoretical frameworks here? We're going to look into fairness and justice, where we have to ensure that AI are designed and trained to be unbiased and equitable in the decision-making process. So we have example for this as well, where the use of AI in hiring processes have been criticized for perpetual bias against certain demographic groups. Digital divide. So this is now going to refer to the gap between those who have access to the modern information and communication technology, such as ICT, and for those who don't have this access. So when it comes to the theoretical framework, we're now looking into social contract theory, where with this theory, we are now going to argue for the creation of policies which are going to ensure equitable access to technologies as a basic right. So example for this, we have during COVID-19, the shift to online learning.
I do. What am I doing right now?
So during COVID-19 pandemic, there was the shift to online learning, which highlighted the digital divide, where we've now found students without reliable internet access or devices, where this now disadvantage compared to the peers. We also have intellectual property and open source, where the tension between protecting intellectual property rights and now promoting open source software, where they now present ethical challenges. So we're now looking into the theoretical frameworks, where we have to be able to balance in the benefit of protecting intellectual property with the border of social benefit of open source softwares. So example, we had the debate over software patents versus open source software illustrated in this ethical dilemma. So to conclude, we have now introduced most of them, and we can now understand and address the ethical issues in IT, which is crucial for professionals to ensure that they're responsible and they follow fair practice. Now we're going to look into our first learning outcome, where we're going to describe the concept of ethical best practice. So this concept, as the definition says, ethical best practice in IT involves adhering to principles and standards that promote responsibilities, fair and trustworthy behavior in the creation, management, and use of technology. So what does this mean? Is encompasses individual responsibility towards colleagues and broader social responsibilities. So we're now going to describe all of them. So we have owner responsibility, where as an IT professional, individuals have now have a set of personal responsibilities which they have to ensure with the ethical conduct in the work. So what are these ethical conduct? Here we have some of them. So this has to be confidentiality, where we're going to ensure that sensitive information is accessed only by those authorized and used appropriately. Integrity, so upon holding honest and accurate in all professional action and decision. Professional development, where continuously improvement skills and knowledge to maintain high standard of professional competence. And then we have responsibility in relation to our colleagues. So what do we have to do in order for us to maintain our fair conduct and our responsibility towards our colleagues? So we have to respect fair treatment, where we have to treat all of our colleagues with the respect that they deserve, fairness and equity, collaboration and teamwork. So we're working effectively with others to achieve common goals. So we have to be able to be team players. Accountability, where we have to take responsibility for our actions, for what we've done, whenever we decide to take on more responsibility within the organization. And also there are social responsibilities, where acting in a way, we're going to be acting in a way that is going to benefit the society and contribute to the public goal. Privacy and data protection, where we're going to be safeguarding our personal information and respecting individuals' privacy rights. Environmental impact, where we're going to minimize the negative environmental impact on IT operation and products. So we also have issues which are raised by users connecting their own kit to organization system. So, for instance, we know that there are policies such as bring your own device, where companies who do not provide company laptop or so on, they will now they will now allow the employees to bring their own device. So this can now raise several ethical and security concerns, where issues could be security risks, where personal device might not have the same level of security as organizational system, which is going to increasing the risk of data breaches and malware infection. Then we have data privacy, where minimizing personal and professional data on a single device can lead to privacy issue and potential data leak. Compliance, where we're going to be ensuring that the use of personal data devices complies with the industry standard and regulatory requirements. So to conclude, we can now say that ethical best practice in IT is a comprehensive approach that encompasses individual responsibility, interaction with colleagues, and broader society obligation. So we're now looking into learning outcome 2, where we're going to explain ethical issues in relation to IT roles. So these ethical issues, by definition, we're now looking at ethical issues in IT roles, which span various domains, including system design and development, cybersecurity, and digital marketing. So below in the table, there is a summary of the key ethical issues in these areas. So by the look of them, we can see where we're looking into the IT roles such as system design and development. The ethical issues can be concerned to user privacy, accessibility, bias in algorithms, security by design. So for example, user privacy, this is now going to be ensuring that the user's data is collected, stored, and proceed in a way that respect user privacy and comply with data protection laws. And roles like cybersecurity, we're now looking into data breach response, ethical hacking, user awareness, surveillance, and privacy, where, for example, when we look into data breach response, we have to look into developing and implementing effective strategies for responding to data breaches to minimize the harm and restore security swiftly. Digital marketing is another IT role where we're now looking into data manipulation, unsolicited sign-ups, transparency in advertising. So for instance, when it comes to data manipulation, it is important that we're going to be avoiding deceptive practice in the manipulation of data to mislead users and gain unfair advantages. So here we have a detailed explanation for all of them. So the IT roles such as system design and development, designers and developers must ensure that the system handle user data responsibility, respecting privacy and complying with the law like GDPR. Accessibility, where systems should be designed to be used by people of all abilities, promoting inclusively. Bias in algorithm, as we mentioned, developer must be vigilant to avoid embedding biases in algorithm that can lead to discriminatory outcomes. When it comes to security by design, we're now going to be incorporating security measures from the beginning of the design process to protect user data and system integrity. Cybersecurity, when it comes to data breach response, we're now going to be having effective breaches response plans to quickly address and mitigate the impact of data breaches. For ethical hacking, we'll be conducting pen testing and security assessment, which are going to be legally and ethically, and they're going to ensure that no harm of unauthorized access will now occur. Also, user awareness, where we're now going to be educating users about cybersecurity threats and the best practice to enhance overall security. Surveillance and privacy, where we're going to balancing the need for monitoring system and user activity with respective user privacy. Digital marketing, we're now going to collecting personal data with transparency and user consent and using it responsibly. Where with data manipulation, we're now going to be avoiding the manipulation of data to mislead or device users. Looking into unsolicited sign-ups, this is going to comply with regulations such as the GDPR and CAN Spam Act to avoid sending unsolicited emails or messages. Transparency in advertisement, this is going to clearly distinguishing between paid adverts and organic content to avoid misleading users. So in conclusion, ethical issues in IT roles are critical to ensure responsible and fair practice in system design and development, cybersecurity, and digital marketing. We've now come to our last learning outcome, where we're going to explain the ethical issues in relation to emerging technologies. So what are these emerging technologies that we're looking into? We're now going to present a host of ethical issues that need to be carefully navigated. So here are the issues. When it comes to emerging technologies, we're going to measure of personal information, misinformation and deep fakes, fake news, lack of oversight and responsibilities. And also we have autonomous technology and ethical dilemmas. So looking into detail for each of them, when it comes to measure of personal information, this means what is the ethical issue is that personal data collected through emerging technology can be used without consent for the purpose such as targeted advertising, profiling, and surveillance. When it comes to data security, we're now going to be ensuring that the massive amount of data collected by emerging technology are stored securely to prevent breaches and authorized access. Misinformation and deep fakes, where deep fake technology can create high realistic but false content that can be used to spread misinformation and manipulate the public opinion. Erosion of trust, where the proliferation of deep fake and misinformation can lead to a general erosion of trust in the news, media, and even personal relationships. Lack of oversight and responsibility, where with the accountability gaps, this is now going to look into emerging technologies that are often developed faster than regulatory frameworks, which can now keep up, leading to gaps in accountabilities and oversight. Ethical governance, where there is often a lack of comprehensive ethical guidance and governance structure to manage the development and use of new technologies. Autonomous technologies, where we're looking into ethical decision-making in AI. This autonomous system must make decisions that can have significant ethical implications, such as life and death situation in self-driving cars. Job displacement, where the automation of jobs through autonomous technologies can lead to significant job losses and economic disruption, raising ethical concern about impact of workers. Ethical dilemma, where wearable devices that track health data raise concern about privacy, data security, and the potential measures of sensitive health information. Genetic engineering, where advances in genetic engineering, such as CRISPR, pose ethical questions about the extent to which we should interfere with natural biological processes. Weaponization of technology, where emerging technology like AI and robotics can be weaponized, raising moral and ethical concern about their use, warfare, and law enforcement. So in conclusion, this ethical issue relates to emerging technologies, and they are complex and multi-faced, encompassing concern about privacy, misinformation, accountability, and broader social impact of technological advertisement. So by addressing these ethical challenges is going to require a proactive approach, including the development of comprehensive ethical guidance, robust regulatory framework, and commitment to responsibility innovation. So this was everything for today's session. Is there any question?
No, thank you. That was really clear, Victor.
Okay. I hope this presentation is available to you for the assignment.
Yeah,
Okay.
I downloaded all the lessons in advance.
Okay, that's great. So then I will see you next week.
Yep, catch you next Monday.
Okay, have a good day.
You too, Victor.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.